On this week's episode, we take you for a day in the life.
We tell you all about the things that we do in our little daily routines and things we do just regularly in our lives.
So stick around.
Hi, and welcome to Rare with Flair.
The podcast where two best friends with the same rare disease are living our best lives. I'm your host, Casey.
And I'm your host, Cassandra. Hello, all you people who listen to our show.
Hey, all you people.
Hey, all you people, won't you listen to me?
That's a SpongeBob reference. We're so sorry. We're still reeling from our last episode about cartoons, apparently.
And it's been longer than normal, and we will say why, because we have been traveling, and we ended up taking an unplanned break.
Yes, we would have told you about it had it been planned, so, that's why. But yeah, some traveling, some tech stuff. We had like a tech issue, and then we weren't able to get back together to record again because travel. So now we're recording again. So sorry for the little unplanned break, but we're happy to be back as always. Thank you for being patient.
Yes, and we hope you're enjoying your June so far. Where were you, Case, since we have been MIA?
I know. So I went to the beach with my family. We go to Orange Beach in Alabama, and it was so much fun. We got to do a bunch of cool stuff. I was with my whole family, so my nephews were there, and it was really fun to bond with them. I mean, I do live near them, but the day-to-day rat race of life, I don't always get to see them super often, and just getting to basically live with them and the condo and get to really bond was a lot of fun. And what about you? Where have you been? What have you been up to?
That's so cute, girl. Oh my gosh. So when did our last episode even come out? I'm trying to remember.
Well, when this episode airs, it'll be about a month ago. Yeah, 4 weeks. About 4 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. It's been a wild 4 weeks for me. I went to the American Thoracic Society conference. I don't think I mentioned that in our previous app. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
As part of the HPS network. It was really great, and we got so much accomplished. It was mad busy, but we made a little booth. And we talked about HPS and our predisposition for lung disease. And I think it was a really cool and important thing. But not even a week after that, I finally got to take a vacation. Because I've traveled a bit, but a lot of it's been either for conferences or even when I went to Seattle at the end of April, I was still working, so it wasn't officially a vacation. But I did take vacation. It was my one international trip that I try to take every year with my parents. And we went to Spain and Portugal, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We were there for 2 weeks. We traveled to a lot of different cities throughout Spain, ate amazing food and met some really nice people. So it was so fun. I'm still trying to catch up on my life and also laundry, but it was amazing.
It sounded like an amazing experience, and I got to see some pics and stuff, and it looked awesome. So, very happy that you had a great time in Spain and that now you're back in your place.
I know. Well, and I missed my girl, too.
I know.
Not only my dog, my girl, but also because I don't take Romana with me when I travel internationally, just because it's kind of a lot and we go at a pretty fast pace. So, it would be tough for her besides their different, restrictions for service dogs in different countries. But I missed my girl Case because we were so busy that I barely got to I didn't get to hardly text even her at all, and we usually communicate with voice memos, so we've been catching up today, and we get to re-record now, which is even better.
I know. We get to start our next cartoon watch adventure.
Yes.
For anyone who may care. We know you all care.
I think everyone cares a lot.
They should. I think a lot. I really think they're very invested.
They're very invested.
But after doing a lot of the, it is a good segue after talking about all of the traveling we've been doing to kind of talk about our regular, quote unquote, regular daily life. Because that's what this episode is about. I think you guys know a lot about our rare disease. You know a lot about our health, but we don't often kind of just show you into what our regular day-to-day is. And you might wonder how it differs from someone without a disability, or you might be surprised how normal it really is in a lot of ways, the way we function,
And I think, we partially intentionally don't share, too much about our lives just to maintain that, level of, I don't know, separation or privacy. But also, it's nice to remember that, the people that you listen to online, are people, not that I'm sure that our listeners have that problem, but even, watching a YouTuber you really love or something, you forget that they, do regular stuff. And so, I think this could be a fun way just to feel like you even get to know us a little bit better. And, I mean, I don't know, we might have some stuff in common. And I think it's going to be also personally helpful for me to remember what I do in my life, because I feel like I haven't been home in a month.
This is actually we're doing this for you.
This is just for
reminder.
me.
It's your reminder how to live your regular life.
Thank you. I forgot.
We'll kind of talk about what we do on a daily basis, things we might do on a weekly basis and a monthly basis, the regular things we kind of do throughout our day.
So how does your morning start, Case?
Oh, how does my morning start? Great question. I am a woman of routine. Okay.
Love it.
I'm a creature of habit. I like routine. I like that. You don't always have to stick with a routine, and some days change, but I like typically doing the same thing most days. Or at least my morning and night. I at least like capping my days off a similar way. The middle of the day, it's going to change. But anyway, all of that being said, so I wake up, and the first thing I do, I don't want to be like that girl, but it really is what I do. I exercise when I wake up. And I find if I don't do it right when I wake up, I'm probably not going to do it. And mainly that's because this is actually a pretty funny health-related reason that I work out in the morning. There are two states that my body is in throughout the rest of the day. Either I've just eaten and you can't really work out after you've just eaten, or it's it's going to make you kind of feel sick. Or I haven't eaten and my blood sugar is dropping and I also can't work out when I haven't eaten, or my blood sugar will get too low and I'll feel like I'm going to pass out. So the only time I really can ride my bike, which is what I do, I have a stationary bike. I ride that in the morning. After that, take my dog out to potty. I always get my Stanley cup and I pour my water. This is an important part of my morning routine. I know you understand.
I'm sorry. The Stanley, I don't get the appeal of the Stanley cup. But
there's so much appeal.
I don't like straws like that. That's so annoying. It's in my way.
So, but I feel you. But I think even if you don't agree with my cup of choice, you agree with the cold water in the morning.
I agree with the cold
water.
Out
of the Brita filter is really important. So I don't drink coffee in the morning, but I drink my cold water. So I get my Brita filter water. And then typically after that, I start working. I work from home, so I do not have to commute or go anywhere. I have a desk with my computer and monitor on there, and I get to start working. And that's basically my morning in a nutshell. So yeah, what about you? What is your morning routine?
Wait, what time do you usually wake up around?
Usually 8.
Okay.
Which I feel like 8 is a weird time, because for some people they would say, oh my gosh, that's so late. I wake up at 5. And then for some people they would say that's early. it really just depends, I guess. But I think for me, it still feels a little early because I would sleep until like as long as I could if I could, but I usually have a morning meeting and that's why I get up at 8. But anyway, you know, that's a lot of information that people might not care about, but that's why I wake up at 8.
No, I get it. I'm a night owl person, so I try to like maximize the amount of sleep I can get while also like getting work done.
Sure.
So usually there are a couple different flavors of days that I can have during a week. So I go into the office hybrid where some days I'll go in and sometimes I don't, and I work from home. So on days that I work from home, I get up a little bit later, around like 9 or 9:30. And honestly, just because the way that my work goes, I end up having a lot of afternoon meetings as opposed to even morning meetings.
Interesting. See, I have a lot in the morning, not as many in the afternoon.
Oh, that's interesting. So usually the morning is like lower key for me. I'm like going through emails. So I honestly just kind of like roll over and grab my computer and kind of do that while I'm still kind of waking up in bed. And then I kind of get up to get breakfast around probably 11. I felt like shamed about this for a while, but I realized after going to Spain that I think it's just because I'm Spanish and people in Spain eat breakfast until up to noon, and that is my life. And also eat lunch around like 2 p.m. and that is also my life.
Oh, that's so interesting because I would never shame you for that. Like I would
no,
never be like, how
I know
dare
you wouldn't.
But I legit eat like lunch around 11:30. So that's just funny. And as far as breakfast goes, I will eat like a small protein bar in the morning. And then I'll eat like a bigger meal at around 11:30, which is kind of when you'd be eating your breakfast. So yeah, that's interesting.
That's funny. What is your normal lunch? Because my normal breakfast, I've talked about this before. It's getting more varied for reasons, but it's my morning egg. I love my morning egg. I make it in my little baby cast iron skillet. It makes me happy, but I'm trying to like not eat an egg every single day because I don't know, cholesterol. I feel like it's like it sounds like I'm old now, but I'll try to have like I don't know, like a toast or yogurt or something for breakfast. I'm a breakfast girl. I love it, and
yeah,
I will make lunch my breakfast even sometimes. So like it is what it is.
I love eggs too. I actually do eat quite a lot of eggs, whether it be scrambled, hard boiled. I eat eggs in any capacity. It really depends on what I eat. I don't know. I don't have like a super go-to lunch all the time. Today I ate like a smoothie bowl situation with like frozen fruit and granola, and I had some peanut butter in there. It was very good. Good. But you know, change it up. So
love it. We love it. Trying to think, what else do I do in the morning? So yeah, mornings I work from home are pretty low key. I take care of my dog also. What else? I don't do a whole lot in the morning besides just kind of work and get myself ready. And then on the days that I do go into the office, I mean, my job is also super flexible. I can kind of go in whenever I want. I just have to be there at some point. So I usually end up leaving maybe around 10. It's my goal. Whether that always happens or not, but I do end up going, and I like to, see my coworkers, and it's fun.
Yeah. Nice. So are you ready to move into like the afternoon? Who wants to go first?
I mean,
Should I just go?
Just go.
Sure. I don't know why we got proper British, but so since I do work from home, I don't have like a typical like schedule. I mean, unless there's like a meeting that I need to be on. So I really kind of work in chunks. I kind of have like my morning chunk, an afternoon chunk, and kind of a night. I do work nights. Sometimes by choice and sometimes not. But what I mean by that is I do have a lot of meetings at night, like Zoom meetings that I have to be on. But sometimes I actually just get work done at night too, like by choice. It's kind of easy living alone to do that. I feel
love the night
like
work.
yeah, it's kind of nice. You can kind of make it a vibe, put on a candle, but anyway, I won't skip to nighttime yet. But afternoons are pretty free in the sense that like I can get work done, or if I need to run an errand, or I need to even like see a friend who might be able to hang out or something, I can like take some time out of my afternoon.
That's really nice.
I
go to the doctor,
Yeah, right. That is really nice. So I usually take like a few hour break for my lunch, and then I'll get back to work in the afternoon at some point. But I do usually also read every day, and a lot of times I'll read in the afternoon. I feel like a lot of people save reading for like at night, but I'll kind of usually like take a little while to read in the afternoon. I usually walk Rupert in the afternoon, and there are some other afternoon things I'll mention when we get to like our weekly schedule, but on the typical day-to-day, if I'm not leaving my house, it's kind of a mix of work and leisure in the afternoon is what I usually do.
That's nice. And I know like you previously were, and you've said this on the pod, but like maybe a few times, but you previously were working on like your Braille transcription license. I mean, you're not working on it now, but it's just like not as active because of reasons. So is that like the normal time that you would have worked on Braille also?
Yeah, it depends. Usually either afternoon or night I would work on Braille, and I would typically, so the reason I'm not working on it right now is I actually turned in my manuscript. Woo! And so we're going to see if I pass or not, but I'm not currently working on Braille, but for the past few years I have been working on my certification for that. And yeah, typically I would spend anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours a day on Braille. Usually somewhere in between that, usually like an hour I would spend doing Braille. And so that was just anytime I kind of had a window of time, honestly, I would just squeeze it in. It wasn't like, every day at 2 p.m., but no, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something I did fit into my day prior to turning in the manuscript. So yeah, wish me luck, everyone. That I pass, I'll let you know if I do.
So exciting. I'm so excited for you. Like outside of this pod, Casey had been keeping me updated about like where she was in the program, and this is like the last step. Like turning in her manuscript is the last step in order to get the transcription, and it's like a huge deal. You've been working on it for like very diligently for 3 years.
Yep.
It's been and it's not from lack of trying. It's just because it's a lot to do. Yeah. So I'm so proud of Case, and I think everyone else should be too.
That's very nice. Golly jeepers. Gosh. Shucks.
Love
very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Actually, the Braille certification journey is basically as old as this pod.
Yeah.
Which is also a fun fact.
Oh my goodness.
Started both of them right around the same time.
We're getting close to the podiversary.
I know, we're getting so close. We actually started talking about doing the pod, and my Braille stuff started in June, and we are in June currently.
I can't believe it. It feels like worlds away.
Take us through your typical afternoon. What is Cass doing on a typical weekday afternoon?
A typical weekday afternoon is where I feel like I get most of my work done. Just because since I am like slower in the morning and I have more afternoon meetings, I find that I'm more productive then, just because working in between the meetings kind of helps that. The way that my job works is that I'm kind of a consultant, even though, like I work for a company, but like when people have questions about accessibility, I like answer them. And so whenever people have questions, I, get on Zoom with them or something. So it like kind of varies from day to day and what people need from me. But even when things are a little bit slower, there are still ways that I can keep myself busy in a work sense. And so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I do besides like trying to get some work done. Sometimes when I work from home, I mean, like I don't I mean, this is pretty typical. Like, I'll try to get some maybe housework done in the afternoon also. If I have time, you know, like throw a load of laundry in while I'm like on a call that I don't need to like be active on or something like that. That's pretty much it. Oh, and I have my like my afternoon coffee around like 3 or 4. So I drink a coffee in the morning, and then I got my afternoon coffee.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good afternoon, like a good time to really like hunker down and get your work going and get it done. And then, of course, yes, afternoon coffee. We talked about that on our HPS conference episode about ordering the afternoon coffee.
It is a
Starbucks.
vital necessity for my life. I need it. Otherwise, like, I'm half asleep in the evening, and that's when I get like a lot of my actual life stuff done. So I need that. Speaking of the evening.
That takes us to the evenings. So typically dinner is my biggest meal of the day. And I do cook probably 3 times a week-ish, and then I'll eat the leftovers. And what about you? Like, how often are you cooking?
I probably cook 2 or 3 times a week also. So Case and I have about the same level of appetite, which is kind of funny. We don't actually eat that much, and so learning to cook for one, we've talked about this also before, was interesting, but I often half my recipes, like I cut them in half. So typically that gives me like 3 meals to a dish. Right. And sometimes I eat lunch when I'm at home, and sometimes I don't, and I just snack around. And so I often don't need to cook super, super often. But yeah. Is there any recipe you've got that's like a mainstay you cook fairly often?
Ooh, I change it up. I mean, I love a pasta. I love a pasta salad. I love tuna a lot. I love like ground beef and making different. I do like this cheeseburger in a bowl like thing that I make. I'll make different salads sometimes, but like hearty salads with like chickpeas and meat and like different things in there. All kinds of stuff. No, I mean, I'm not often making anything super crazy. I love making like vegetables in the air fryer and broccoli and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And
I don't know if I realized that you had an air fryer.
Yes.
Wait, how did I not know that?
My dad got it for me last year.
How did I must have known this.
Yes. Well, I do like a birthday dinner with my dad. And that's like what he bought me. Was the air fryer.
That's so fun.
I didn't know. Yes, I didn't know. You didn't know. I love the air fryer. Yes.
Oh, that's a blast.
What about you? Like any specialties?
I'm a chicken girly, so I do a lot with chicken. One of the things I like to make with a level of frequency, and by that I mean maybe like every other month, just because I don't want to get bored of it. I love making these like bean burritos. I found a recipe for it, and it's not like extremely complicated, but I guess I just use kind of whatever beans I've got at the moment. I've used probably 5 different kinds in the past just because of what I've got in the pantry, but you make like refried beans, and you throw them together with some cheese, and you roll them up into a tortilla. So you've got like burritos for the week, and they freeze really well.
Wait, how do you cook them though? Do you like bake them, or like do you just roll them up and eat it raw?
You roll them up, and then you like pan sear them on each side, so they've got a little crunch. And then you can reheat them in like the oven or something, or the toast. I have the toaster oven, so.
Getting hungry.
Bean burritos, man. I love the bean burritos. But
I usually do eat an afternoon snack too. Afternoon coffee, afternoon snack, because I'm eating my lunch so early. So
right. I have to have seriously. I mean, you gotta supplement with something. I like to have a little snack with my afternoon coffee, like a cookie or something.
Yes, of course.
Depends, but I do love
the rest.
I love the cooking. I find that I feel like even though it's probably not true because I need to eat more often, I find that I bake more often than I cook. And maybe it's just, it feels that way because I find that I'm in the kitchen longer when I bake. But I probably, I mean, it's been a while since I've been home, but even in the in-between from ATS to going to Spain, I had like maybe 5 days. And the day after I got back, I baked a cake because I had to, I think.
You bake a lot, and honestly, and I'm being serious. I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. I'm honestly so impressed by how often you bake and the intricate things you bake and how often you do it because, like, I do really like to bake. I'm actually baking this weekend. I'll have to tell you about it. But I do like to bake, but it does feel more of like a big show sometimes for me to get it all together and do it. And I love how you're just like constantly, it's almost like every time you sneeze, like a cake comes out of your mouth. Like every time you like blink, there's a new tart sitting on your counter. Like I'm impressed.
It's fun.
I'm
well,
impressed.
and I like to, so it's funny because it sounds like I just eat constant sweets. And I just like to have something in my kitchen that sometimes I eat with a breakfast or sometimes I have with my afternoon coffee or for dessert. And I end up sharing a lot of it too. So I'll like take them to work or I'll give some to my parents when I see them. Or sometimes I've even given stuff to my neighbors. So like, I'm not constantly sitting here eating like an entire cake. But it's such a release for me, like creatively, I guess. It just feels really nice to like, I don't know, put effort into something that feels artistic, but also it's not like there's nothing wrong with like other media arts, but I don't know what I would do if I was like a painter and I had just like endless paintings in my house. I like that you get to consume it when you're done. You're like, cool.
That's so true. That's so true. And it is like a way to be artistic, and also like it's actually like proven that it reduces stress. Like baking, it can be stressful sometimes when your kitchen is messy after it or whatever, but it also can be, you know, they call it stress baking for a reason a lot of the time. Like it can really reduce your stress. So
I feel like it's something, and I know you've got hobbies like this too, where like you can just focus in on what you're doing, the task at hand, and you don't necessarily have to be thinking about the other things you need to do in the day. It's just like a nice little break where your mind is active and you're trying to problem solve. But it's not, I don't know. It's a break. It's a little escape.
Yeah. We've talked about that before, and I've compared it to reading because I think when you're like doing other things sometimes, like even watching TV, like you can still pick up your phone or you can still do other things. But when I'm reading a book, like I can't do other things. Like you have to give it your full attention. And for me, that's a big like stress release too. I don't know why. Something about it like just calms me down.
That is nice.
And
I will say, speaking of TV, throughout the day, I feel like I watch a lot of TV, but I do it while I'm doing other things, like chores. And so I will often put on like TV while I bake, but sometimes I'll like need to pause it or at different points just to make sure that I know what I'm doing, or listen to music. I do like have music on in the background. I've tried to embrace silence a little bit more, and I think that's been good for me. Because I always had like just something playing in the background because I live alone, and so it's not like otherwise it's lonely, but it just feels nice to hear other voices. But yeah, what about you? What do you have on in the background?
I usually always have something on in the background, whether it be a podcast, an audiobook, a TV show, or music. I really, really like working to music, unless I'm doing something where I really am trying to focus, but a lot of the time I can kind of have it in the background and it'll still be fine. But yeah, I really do enjoy that. But yeah, besides cooking dinner and then some of my nighttime calls that I have, I don't have that many more like nighttime rituals. I do have a pretty intense skincare routine, and like that's just like fun. I just find it fun. Like I find it's a good way to wind down. I'm one of those people, like some people can like lay down and their head hits the pillow and they're immediately asleep. Not me. It couldn't
like
be
magic.
me. Like, I need a while to wind down. If I come home from a concert at like 11 at night, like, I can't just fall asleep, you know? I need a minute. And I think, like, having that night routine, first of all, like I said, I like routine. I'm a creature of habit. But also, it helps me wind down, too. It's, like, kind of that time. And sometimes I'll really try to, like, romanticize my life and, like, put on a candle and put on some jazz music and, like, drink a tea before bed or whatever. And obviously, like, your life is busy and you can't always like make it like a romantic version of it, but sometimes you can. And I really enjoy doing that. I enjoy like doing little things like that for myself to make my day, to kind of romanticize my life and make my day
love that though. I think not enough people do that, and they just sort of focus on that, and it's a way of feeling present. Like, you get to enjoy the current moment. And not just feeling like you've got an endless list of things to do, which you very well may. Right. But I like that romanticizing your life. I like that phrase too. I do a lot of stuff at night besides that. Like, I usually bake at night, or not super, super late. I try to do it like in the evening, when I don't have to like cook dinner, like a leftover night generally. And then since I'm in grad school, that's usually when I'll work on school stuff, is at night. I don't work on school every night, and I know we're like trending toward like what we do every week-ish.
Yeah.
But depending on the classes that I'm in, it's online, so I can kind of take it at my own pace. It just depends like when things are due. But nighttime is, I think, because I'm a night person, it's the easiest time for me to focus on stuff, especially like if I have to read for school. I'll try to do that at night. And what else? And then I don't know, just like other hobby related things, like whenever I've got the time, besides like baking. Sometimes I like to go on walks at night. I have some like light up gear that I like to wear. I think I mentioned it before on the pod, but like taking a nice little night walk with my guide dog gets her some work to do, and we get to, I don't know, walk to the pharmacy or Dairy Queen or something, and that's nice. And then I don't know, play a video game, watch TV, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just winding down. Yeah, and since you bragged on me for a second about Braille, I'm gonna say, like, Cass is doing so well in grad school. Aww. And I think it's so awesome, and I love hearing about all of her projects she's doing, and like and I feel like because of how the nature of school is, it's like sometimes it's a little more slow, and then sometimes it's like really crunch time and you're like, I've been working on this project for 5 hours, like, you know. So I know that does kind of lead us into like the weekly thing, but no, what you're doing at school is amazing, and
so that
is definitely something awesome that I'm glad you're sharing with the pod, that they get to hear about it.
Yeah, I kind of treat it like a hobby a little bit. Thanks, girl. I really appreciate it though. But like, I like school, which is why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I really need to. I just think the content is cool, and it's not so intense that I can't, do anything else, and it holds me accountable. Like, sure, I could probably learn some of this stuff online, but I like that I have to turn in stuff. I like that I'm assigned to read things, because I don't know if I would do it otherwise. So it's I don't know, it's fun for me, and who knows what'll happen. I'm trying to graduate next spring, so we shall find out.
Nice. So on a weekly basis, what are you doing in your day-to-day life that's like a weekly commitment for you?
Yeah, so during the school year, so September through May, like the broad use of school year, because my semesters happen whenever, I am part of this Bible study that's also kind of online through Zoom on Tuesdays. So I do that. I get together with my church friends usually sometime once a week. And I'm trying to think of what else I do. I usually reserve like my Thursdays. Like, they're my time to either work on like school or try to do chores or something. And I think that's most of what I like do regularly on a weekly basis. Oh, and I go to church on Sunday, of course. Like, yeah.
Right.
What else do you do?
I can think of another thing. I can think of another thing you do that's bi-weekly.
Oh, yeah. Well, and of course, like, I mean, well, first, every day I watch a cartoon with my best friend, and we send each other memos.
Yes, of course.
But my best friend and I also have this podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's
You should check it
cool.
out. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah, so that's something we don't do weekly, but every other week, every other Tuesday night, we are recording the pod. Yeah, so I also go to church on Sunday. Cass and I are also both part of our worship team, singing on Sundays as well. Not necessarily every Sunday, but quite a lot of them. Every other week, I have like a small group through my church that I meet with. I was in a book club, but that recently ended. It was a lot of fun. Not a church book club, a separate book club, but that was a lot of fun. Once a week, I volunteer at the library.
That's so good.
At my local library, and it's a lot of fun, and it's just 1 hour a week, and that's on, well, I might not say when it is, so I won't dox myself.
Yeah, that's true.
People coming to stalk me at the library. But it is a secret day of the week. No, I'm kidding. But I do that once a week. You know what else we both do once a week? We water our plants. Sometimes a little more or less than once a week. But that we joke that, like, I mean, it's not a joke, it's real. Watering our plants, since we each have so many, takes legitimately like
30
minutes.
Yeah.
At least, what did you say? You said 30?
I said 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30. I said 30 as well. So sometimes I try to make it fun. I like put in my AirPods.
Yes.
And
I love the AirPods.
I kind of like, because like, here's the thing with having plants. Like, having them is a lot of fun. Taking care of them can be hard work, especially if you're just not in the mood and you're tired or whatever. So I try to make it fun where it's kind of my time to like unwind. Like, I kind of make it my time. I get to listen to whatever I want on my AirPods. And I kind of take that 30 minutes to kind of relax while I water. And I actually enjoy it more now that I've kind of changed my mindset. Instead of like, oh, I have to water all my plants. Like, I'm like, oh, that'll be fun to water my plants.
Yeah. So, I just did that last night, and I also did. I had my AirPods in. I was listening to some music. It was really a nice little moment that my plants and I shared.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And what time are you typically going to bed, even though we already did the nighttime routine?
So I've said before, I'm a night person. I feel like some people might think this is pretty late, but I'm usually going to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning. That's pretty typical for me. And because I get up at like 9:30, I usually get a solid like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It's just like shifted when the normal time is.
Right. You're still sleeping the same amount.
Yeah.
It's not like you're being lazy or anything like that. Like, you're still,
And instead of like waking up early to do some of my housework that a lot of people would do, I just then do it like later in the day. And so I just think, I mean, maximize the time that works for you. Like, if you've got a flexible schedule and you are like, you prefer the mornings or the nights, like, take advantage of that, you know?
Yeah.
But what about you?
I made that lazy comment because I feel like there's a lot of judgment coming from people who are morning people, and because I was and still am a night owl at heart. The reason I wake up at 8 is because I have a meeting in the mornings that I like have to be at. But like, for me, I typically get in bed in the 10s, but I don't fall asleep until 11:30 or 12, like around midnight. Which still isn't. So, like, I'll sleep usually from midnight to 8, which is 8 hours. So, you know.
Yeah.
I try to get my solid 8 hours.
What time, or what do you usually do while you're hanging out?
I'm usually on my phone, which is not great. I know. But listen, that's kind of my time. It's my time to, like, do unwind, and I'll watch YouTube or do whatever. And, So, Is there anything you do monthly?
There are a couple things I do monthly. I try to make it to the farmer's market once a month on Saturday mornings.
Oh,
I love the farmer's market, and I get my eggs from there because, I love my eggs.
love it.
But it's just really fun. It is, like, generally, like, if I'm home on a Saturday, I'll try, like, I take that opportunity to, like, really sleep in. But there's something really, like, romanticizing your life, right? Like, there's something really, like, romantic about going to the farmer's market in the morning.
I love the farmer's market.
It's so
I recently
special.
went, and I was able, I love it when, I mean, obviously you want to cook everything you buy there. That's the point.
Right.
But I was able to really, like, actually use everything I bought there this week.
Ooh.
I went on Saturday, and I've already been able to use most of the stuff I bought. So, yeah, it's exciting.
I know. I went right before I went to Spain because I wasn't planning on going, but I needed to, like, mail a package. Long story, but, like, making this sound super interesting. But it's like the post office is close to the farmer's market, and I was like, oh, I'll just, like, kill two birds with one stone. And I missed my maple syrup friends because the summer market started, and the maple syrup people were back, and I bought some, and I'm psyched.
The thing I love about the farmer's market, not to go too long on a tangent about the farmer's market, but when you go, like, knowing where your people that you like,
Yes.
like they're for mine, they're like at the same spot. So, like, even though
Yes.
I can't see, like, I know where they are, and I know what I like, and yeah, I love that so much.
I started trying to, like, when I needed something different, I started trying to get in the habit of, like, looking at the map online just so that I knew what was what, because, like, I've been without looking at the map before. And it's fine, but it's always, like, this is, like, visual, right? Like, this is rare. It's always, like, so bright. And, I've got Romana with me. She's working. There are a lot of other dogs there, too. So she's, like, a little distracted. I usually have, like, food rewards for her. But I feel awkward. And I don't think I should, but I feel awkward having to, like, stop at every other booth when I'm going there by myself to ask them, like, what they sell. And then when they explain too much to me, then I feel pressured to buy something I don't need.
Oh, I know.
So I've been trying to, and that's actually helped me a lot. I recently bought some gnocchi from the farmer's market. That was delicious, and I don't think I would have known about if I hadn't looked online.
Well, that's awesome.
But the other thing I can think of that I do once a month, and I haven't done it since March, I think, because I've been out of town every week that it's happened, is the cookbook club at the local library, which I love, and is happening in a couple weeks. So I think I still have time to make it to June's. I'm really excited because I miss cookbook club.
Oh, I miss you going to cookbook club, and I'm not even involved, but I love hearing about it. It's literally my favorite thing.
Even though I couldn't go in April because I was traveling, like, I still used the books that they were using that month.
Aww.
And it was really good. I got some really solid recipes. It was like each month has a theme. So April was like French food themed, and I was like, oh, I gotta make some stuff from there. So I did,
awesome.
and it was great. So cookbook club.
That's awesome. I don't have anything monthly I can think of besides the book club that recently ended that I was in. I'm about to start another book club.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'll have to tell you about that later, but yeah, so I'm glad to be doing another one after mine ended. But yeah, I don't have anything else that's like monthly. Usually my scheduled things are weekly. Nowadays in the summer, I'm trying to get in the water at least once a week. My parents have a pool, so I love like swimming, kayaking, like doing anything in the water in the summertime is one of my favorite things. So I've been trying to do that, but I haven't even been great at doing that with travel and things like that too. So I hear what you're saying about that. But yeah, like typically I feel like our lives, I mean, yes, they are like really affected by Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome and by our vision impairment and by all of that. But I feel like hopefully hearing about our day to day is kind of helpful in realizing that like our lives are pretty boring, but not boring in a bad way, just boring in a good way. I mean,
yeah.
Of like typical. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I think, like, I change my ostomy bag, like, once a week, and, you know, that's very, like, HPS centric. And
yeah.
of course, like, taking care of my guide dog, because she's a guide dog, but also, like, she's a dog, and so a lot of times that doesn't feel like completely centered around my disability.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I don't know. Our lives can be a little unremarkable in like the best way. And I think that's also like a big part of adulthood is having somewhat of a unremarkable life, but that still brings you joy.
Yeah.
Just finding pleasure in nice, ordinary things. And I think we definitely try to make that happen. Of course, like, we hang out with friends, we clean our houses, other things that we didn't mention, but do.
Yeah.
But, you know, those aren't always, like, at regular times. They're just whenever they happen. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's like, Cass was, you know, gone for 2 weeks, and I was traveling for half of that time as well. And it was funny when we got back, we were kind of updating each other on everything. And I was like, I feel like so much has happened in these 2 weeks, and also like nothing at all, you know? And I feel like that's life. Like, that's life in a nutshell. There's always something going on. We stay pretty busy, but also, you know, we have our like kind of day in and day out mundane times too. And that's not always bad. I mean, that's kind of nice to just have your routine, and yeah, and that's why I think it's hard for people to understand how HPS can affect our lives so much and also hardly at all at the same time. It's like, you know, it's that balance, and I think we try to like explain that on this pod as best we can, but it's hard to explain it to anyone who's not living it, how like it does affect everything. It does affect everything in our lives, but not to the point where it incapacitates us or we don't have other aspects. So I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but
no, I think you are. I think you've said this before on this pod, where like if a stranger like stepped into our lives for a day, I think they would feel like it's overwhelming the amount that our disabilities are part of it, but we are just so used to living with our, you know, in our bodies. And, you know, when we're not super sick for any given reason, it's pretty much just an ordinary day. You know, things that we don't mention are like, when I'm doing my laundry, I use my phone to read the care tags on my clothes because I'm an adult now and I don't want them to shrink when I put them in the dryer. So, you know, like things like that we do without even thinking about, but are just part of a regular task, I guess.
Yeah, if I'm making like a freezer meal and I'm warming it up, like I do use my phone to read those things. And, you know, these are things where we just are able to, you know, accommodate for ourselves. And it doesn't always even take that long. And sometimes we don't even think about the fact that we're doing it.
Right.
So, yeah, no, that's super interesting.
We're on our computers. We've got them zoomed in. Like, when we're watching something, a lot of times we'll have the audio description turned on. And I don't know, there are a lot of ways to like facilitate your life that you don't even consider when they're just part of your life.
But I think you hit the nail on the head when you're like, it really is because it's all we've ever known, that we're able to just like go through life. I think, if someone just like stepped into our shoes, that would be like really hard probably. But it is all we've ever known. So we're just living our lives, but it's a good time.
It's nice. We have a good time. And speaking, I wanted to tell everyone that your tomato plant has tomatoes because since we're talking about fun, mundane things.
I know. Well, I meant to give that update at the beginning, actually. I was kind of
spoiled it for you, but I'm excited about it.
No, please do. I'm good. Thank you. I'm growing a tomato plant, and it has tomatoes, and like some of them are ripe enough to eat. And I just ate my first one, actually yesterday, and it tasted really, really fresh, which I'm glad it did because you know. Shout out to my neighbor who watered them for me while I was out of town because they would be dead, I'm sure, if she hadn't.
Yes.
Appreciative.
That's awesome.
But, and I know your plants are all doing well also.
Yeah, which my neighbor also helped me take care of while I was out of town.
We love a good neighbor.
We love a neighbor. I have an arrangement with my neighbor where like I have 2 parking spots that I obviously don't use daily because I don't have car and don't drive. She in the summertime she's got like a little 2-seater convertible she parks in one of my spots, and in exchange she has done a lot of like work on my patio for me. And
so
so
nice.
it was so, because like I don't know, it's fun to go on vacation and then you come back and you're like, oh man, I have to do all of these things and catch up with my life. It was lovely coming in and seeing my patio all nice and cleared, and she weeded my garden. It was so nice.
So nice. That's so helpful. So helpful.
We love.
Yeah. I don't know many of my neighbors, but I'm glad I have this one that I do that I can, call upon when things like that come up.
Yeah, well, it's good when, like, if something, I don't know, something emergent comes up, to have, like, a quick point of contact. Like, you don't have to be, like, best friends, but just so that they're aware of your existence is nice.
Yes, it's so true. Very true.
But I think that's all we had.
I think we covered it all. Yes, and I hope it gave a little glimpse into our lives. You got to know us a little better, maybe.
I hope that you enjoy this while you're doing your routine. I know that we got a message while we were gone that I feel like we disrupted some of our listeners' routines with our unplanned break, but we will be back. Sorry. We will be back in a regular capacity now, so.
Yes, and thank you all for checking up on us when we are gone. We appreciate you caring. We appreciate you tuning in, and we're glad that we can be on a consistent schedule to be there for you when you expect it. So,
woohoo.
Yeah, well, thank you all.
We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.